Hey there, cowpokes and cowgirls. This is 101 Bronson speaking to you today. And it's about time I started ranking some of my favorite genre movies of all time. I'm talking, of course, about westerns alla italiana, or spaghetti westerns as most of us know them. Yeah, so today I'm presenting to you my top 20 spaghetti westerns, boys and girls. um, So yeah, we're gonna make a nice little entertaining video out of this. I'm gonna rank them. I'm gonna give you some info about the spaghetti westerns. We're gonna do maybe some parodies, some skits, and let's just all have fun. Kick back, put your feet up, and let's take a look at some of the best Italian westerns ever made, in my opinion. I know there's a whole lot of them, but we're gonna take a look at some of them. So yeah. Without further ado, let's take a look at the top 20 spaghetti western list by 101 Bronson. That's me, boys and girls. Enjoy the show. For our number 20 pick, we have the 1966 Sergio Corbucci directed spaghetti western Navajo Joe, which in my opinion is an overlooked and underrated film in the genre. It stars Burt Reynolds in his only spaghetti western outing. He was actually kind of under the impression that he was going to work with the grandmaster of the genre, Sergio Leone. Imagine his surprise and, let's say, disappointment when he found out it was not Sergio Leone that he was working with, but Sergio Corbucci, the other Sergio. Navajo Joe tells a story of Burt Reynolds as a half-breed Navajo Indian, Native American, who seeks revenge. And it's an early Corbucci film. It was made right after Django, arguably his most biggest contribution to the genre, arguably his most well-known film, his biggest success. And it's one that was kind of overlooked back then when it was released. Burt Reynolds, I was going to call him Navajo Joe, now that's the character he plays. Burt Reynolds actually hated the experience of working on the film, and he, on several occasions, he wasn't too fond of the film. And but I think it's an underrated film, certainly overlooked. It has a fantastic score by Ennio Morricone. Credited as Leo Nichols, by the way, but Corbucci's directing the action, violent, visceral. There's some great shots in there, and let's have a look at it, shall we? At number 19, we have a very late entry into the spaghetti western genre. This one is from 1976, at the point where the western genre, particularly the spaghetti western genre, was on its last legs. It truly was. We had, in the early 70s, we had My Name is Trinity with Bud Spencer and Terence Hill, which was a comedy spaghetti western. And that kind of became the next trend. People were tired of like the violent, serious spaghetti westerns, and when Trinity was such a huge success, pretty much every western after that, they turned more comedy. But a few of the very last ones, I was trying to save the genre, were serious spaghetti westerns, and this one is by Enzo G. Castellari, starring Franco Nero, William Berger, Woody Strode. It has quite an impressive cast. Enzo G. Castellari does a great job directing, and I think it's a pretty fantastic film. The only thing that brings it down, the music. That ain't cowboy music, that's terrible. Give me Ennio Morricone any old day. Seriously though, if you think the woman is bad, about halfway through the picture this male voice joins in, and it just gets hilarious, to tell you the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wanted to hear what Arnold Schwarzenegger would sound like if he sang in a film, please, by all means, your wish is about to be fulfilled. Have a listen.
See that body in front of me. Now I don't care what's gonna happen. You can tag me, I wanna die.
Let's move on. Number 18. Our next entry is from 1967. This one came right on the heels of the Dollars trilogy. And they were trying to cash in mostly on the Fistful of Dollars film from 1964 that kickstarted the success of the genre. This one stars Tony Anthony in his first spaghetti western. He made several of them, and this one is A Stranger in Town. This one was made on a very shoestring budget, where Tony Anthony kind of is trying to be like a Clint Eastwood type of character, but due to the budget, they had to be creative with certain things. Where Eastwood would wear a poncho, the stranger, by Tony Anthony, is wearing a blanket. Where he was pitting two gangs in one town against each other, Anthony is just playing one gang. Anyway, I think it's a fantastic spaghetti western. Certainly a bit overlooked. I actually like that it's a very modest, low budget film. It kind of lends a certain aspect and atmosphere to the film, and let's have a look at a few clips.
The stranger didn't mind a put-on. For this perverted town, he had his own kind of twist. Who are you?
I'm a fair man.
What do you want?
Gold.
How much do you want?
Half.
Now I want it all. Take it.
All right. Now, I'm gonna do just fine. Now, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come with me.
At our number 17 spot, we have a film by Duccio Tosari called The Return of Ringo. This one stars Juliana Gemma, and it's a sequel, or well, that's what they would like you to believe, but they're two separate films, but it's kind of billed as a sequel to the film A Pistol for Ringo. Both movies are from 1965, same director, pretty much the same cast, but The Return of Ringo, I think, is the stronger one of the two. And this one was made right after Fistful of Dollars by Duccio Tosari, who actually co-wrote uncredited, who actually did some uncredited writing on Fistful of Dollars. And this one has a fantastic plot. about Ringo, who returns from the Civil War, and he finds that a few things in his town ain't the way they used to be, and he's gonna do something about it. Got a great supporting cast with people like Fernando Sancho, who's a spaghetti western regular, always as the huge, belching, loudmouth Mexican bandit. And let's have a look at a few clips.
You first saw him in A Pistol for Ringo. Ringo, the greatest hero of the West. I've come back.
One day with my heart full of pain.
I've come back.
I have looked in the faces of friends. They look at me as my home.
We all make mistakes. I'll explain afterwards.
You must tell me. You must remember.
You're already dead with fear.
Not yet, but they'll soon be dead. If you really abandon them.
Look at me, Holly, and count the Mexicans who are living here. It's no contest. What if the Fuentes hurt you? It's too much for just one man, and I've got a bad gun hand, too.
Here he is again, fighting a single-handed battle against injustice.
I need you.
Ringo returning to save his honor. Ringo returning from a long, grim war.
I was dead.
Our next pick is from 1967. Yeah, a lot of great films were made in 67, 66, 68, even 64, 65. The 60s had the best spaghetti westerns. This one is directed by Giulio Petroni and stars genre megastar Lee Van Cleef and John Philip Law, in which John Philip Law plays a young gunfighter who is seeking the killers that killed his parents a lot of years ago. And he forms an alliance with Lee Van Cleef's character, who is an aging gunfighter, and both of them try to track down these people, and we have a few twists and turns along the way, and a very surprising ending, and I think it's one of the genre's best films. And let's take a look, shall we?
Death rides a horse. When you've waited 15 years to find a man, it's a shame you can only kill him once. The bandits who killed 5 defenseless people made one big mistake. They should have killed 6. Ever since he was a little boy, there was one thing he always wanted to do: find 4 men and kill them.
Serves you right. Our next pick is from 1968, and this is another great spaghetti western that is, well, people are discovering it now because of Arrow Video. They have put out a great box set of these films. But before that, these ones weren't really that much talked about or discussed, but I think there's some fantastic films. I'm talking, of course, about the Sartana films. And for my number 15 pick, I decided to go with If You Meet Sartana, Pray for Your Death, which is the very first Sartana film. This one stars Gianni Garco as Sartana. You also got the likes of William Berger and Klaus Kinski in there. And Fernando Sancho again. Yeah, told you he was a regular. And this one is about Sartana, who I'm just gonna let the images and the clips speak for itself. He's a very well-dressed gunfighter, and he has a few tricks up his sleeve. He's kind of like the James Bond of the Wild West. So let's take a look.
You're pallbearer.
The smell of a bounty killer. You ain't no country parson, that's for sure.
At our number 14 spot, we have a 1967 political spaghetti western directed by Damiano Damiani. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but I think that's the way you pronounce the director's name. This one stars Lou Castel as Nino, Jean Maria Volonte, who was in A Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More, and you have Klaus Kinski in here as well. Also, Bond girl Martine Beswick is in this film. The director Damiano Damiani doesn't really like to think of this film. Well, I believe he has passed away now, but he never really considered this film a spaghetti western. He considered this a political film that's just dressed as a western. But I don't know. It sure looks and sounds like a spaghetti western to me, and I think it's a really great one. You got a great score here by Luis Bacalov. Some great action sequences. It's about a group of Mexican revolutionary bandits who accept an American into their gang, played by Lou Castel, and they're not aware of his full intentions, let's speak, and that's all I'm gonna say without ruining the plot for you. So let's take a look at A Bullet for the General.
A golden bullet. When the bullet turns red, the general will be dead. El Chuncho, the bandit. El Nino, the gringo. Side by side, they killed for what they believed in. Gold. El Santo, the Holy One. What the Lord giveth, he took away.
This next one is from 1967 again. This one is directed by Giulio Questi, and it's arguably one of the most weirdest and most gothic feeling and a most surreal feeling spaghetti western in the genre. There's a few of them, but I think this is truly one that really made an impression on me, and I think a lot of people should consider watching this one, because for some weird reason this is like, I don't know, it's not a beloved film. I think it's not a film that many people talk about, but it's certainly one that a lot of people that love spaghetti westerns, they usually consider this one as a really great one, and I myself do as well. This one stars Thomas Milian, and where he plays Django, even though he's never called Django in the film. Not from what I can recall, anyway. Just don't hold that against me. I believe he's known as a stranger or something like that again. Who is killed in the very opening sequence, and it's kind of implied that he's like a ghost that comes back for vengeance. Some of the weird stuff in this film, you have to see to believe. Would you believe a few gay cowboys dressed in black? A parrot with a drinking problem, and a woman locked up in a house? If you do, well, watch the film, and if you don't, watch the film. You have to see it to believe it. Let's take a look at Django Kill. If you live, shoot. Unfortunately, I've only been able to find a German trailer that was somewhat decent of showing images from the film. The American trailer was censored as hell and didn't even feature any images or clips from the films. A fair warning up front is justified for people that are sensitive to light or suffer from epilepsy. Be careful, because there are some flashing images in this trailer. So anyway, here we go.
Ich musste einen weiten Weg gehen, um die Goldsäcke in die Finger zu kriegen. Und ich musste den Gestank eurer fetten Haut ertragen. Wir denken nicht daran, das Geld mit schmutzigen Mexikanern zu teilen. Nehmt die Flossen hoch!
Our next film is from 1970. This one is directed by Sergio Corbucci once again, starring Franco Nero and Tomas Milian, and Jack Palance as a great villain. This one is Vamos a matar compañeros, also known as Companeros. And this is another revolutionary political type of spaghetti western, but this is certainly one of the best. Great score by Ennio Morricone once again. Great performances by Franco Nero, Tomas Milian, Jack Palance. Yeah, I'm gonna let the footage speak for itself once again here, because I don't think I could do as good of a job of explaining the film to you as the footage can. So let's go right ahead.
¡Vamos a matar, compañeros! Veo dando el aire los sombreros. Vamos a
For our next pick, we have another great 60s classic spaghetti western teaming up two great genre megastars, Juliana Gemma and Lee Van Cleef. This is Day of Anger, directed by Tonino Valerie, and with a great score by Riz Olatani, I think that's how you pronounce it, which was also used by Quentin Tarantino in Django Unchained. And in this one, Juliana Gemma plays Scott Mary, who was kind of a kid in a town who was picked on by all the townsfolk. He's kind of like the quote-unquote butt of the joke for everyone in town, until he decides to stand up for himself. And when he does that, Lee Van Cleef comes into town and takes him under his wing and teaches him a thing or two. And yeah, he becomes a really great gunfighter. And Lee Van Cleef doesn't really have the best intentions at heart. And ultimately it comes down to a confrontation to see who is the best gunfighter once and for all. And I think it's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. There's some great releases out there. I recommend the Arrow Video release on Blu-ray. Great picture quality, and you get the full version, you get an uncut version, you get the European international version, you got multiple versions of the film, but of course you got to watch the most uncut and full extended version you can. And Arrow Video's got you there. And let's take a look at some clips and some moments from Day of Anger, supported by the awesome soundtrack. And here we go, cowpokes, we're halfway there. This is the number 10 spot, and this one goes to another awesome Lee Van Cleef film. This one is directed by the third Sergio. Besides Sergio Corbucci and Sergio Leone, we had Sergio Solima, and this is The Big Gundown, starring Lee Van Cleef and Thomas Milian, in a fantastic film about Lee Van Cleef, who chases after a Mexican bandit for allegedly raping and I believe killing a minor, underage girl. But it turns out that the Mexican bandit isn't really the guy that did it, and in a pretty great twist that I'm not gonna give away, it's revealed that the killer is somebody who you didn't really think it was, you know. And this is a fantastic film by Sergio Solima, great direction by Solima, great score once again. I mean, I haven't seen a film that was scored by Ennio Morricone where I was like, well, the score wasn't really great. No, Ennio Morricone always delivers a great score, and he certainly does here with The Big Gundown from 1967. Let's take a look at it.
Ooh.